Make sure subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.
Just becomes extratropical.
Wow. All right, we mesmerized here. We could stare at this all day.
Just like that.
Oh, yeah, that's what's going on here for us in the northern portions of the Atlantic. That'll be moving away. It could be a big problem down the road, though, as you head into the far northern stretches of the Atlantic. But then we've got an area to watch a little bit closer to home. And development chances, Jen, aren't great, but we're not necessarily looking for that, but the influx of moisture it may bring.
Right. It is only a 10% development chance, but we do have the risk in the zone that it's moving for some extra rain to get into parts of the southeast where it was already going to rain. This would just make it maybe a little heavier.
Yeah, so we can kind of pinpoint, this is GFS model, looking at some of the moisture associated with that, and you see how it progresses as we head on through the rest of this week, off towards the north a bit and kind of move its way up into the Carolinas, kind of inject a little bit more of that deep tropical moisture. Again, as Jen mentioned, it was going to rain anyway, but we're going to watch for more enhancement of the rainfall in some of those spots.
All right, so that's really the main thing going on right now when it comes to what's happening in the tropics. But we do still have 23% of the season to go. That's basically a quarter, right? So we have, the rest of October and then even in November. And as we know from last year, it can still be very busy. Look at last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's October 2020 here for us. We had Epsilon, Gamma, Zeta, Delta. Of course, Delta and Zeta are making that landfall there in Louisiana here for us. Again, some systems that certainly meant business, no doubt about it here for us. 4 total named systems in October. We averaged 2, so doubled that.
Yeah, but although that season and the 5 previous had all had this many 4. So it's, the trend has been for October to be busy over the past several years. Now, when you look at October and even November, the areas for development are closer to home. So you watch the Western Caribbean, you watch the Gulf of Mexico off the coast. When fronts move off the coast, we always keep an eye for any spin-ups that can happen. Sometimes those aren't modeled. And so, that's why every single day we are checking in with the tropics.
You got to. You really do. So, yeah, watching these areas, very similar to kind of the early part of the season where everything is kind of a little bit closer to home. We kind of go back to that here as we head into the latter part of the season. The worst chore.
I know. I do know you're not a fan. You might like this here. Sometimes I make like Greek yogurt with a little bit of Nutella in it as an apple dip. Oh, really good. Yeah, you get that nuttiness, but no peanut butter.
I always try.
It's got the chocolatey. It's hard to complain. All right, you are complaining about your weather in the south. Yes, we have more rain. I'm sorry. Again, upper level low still in place for the next 2 days.
Yeah, you see that tomorrow. Maybe a better chance for some storms in a spot like Chicago. Heat, though, that's the story. Southern Plains into Texas. Look at Dallas.
Look at Dallas, 95 degrees. Oof. I don't know when you shut down your pool, but I'm sure it's not yet because 95 degrees and the 90s continue into your Saturday as well. The changes are coming to the northwest.
Yeah, starting to see it and show up with the form of showers, in the form of some showers. Seattle sees that coming in, and that will continue to expand as we head through the weekend, and we'll also watch those temperatures start to take a bit of a dive as well.
Yeah, 50s for several days in a row here, Seattle, so we are back into jackets and sweater and everything else. Now, this is Sunday. Let's keep an eye on that system because that one has us interested for next week. But in the meantime, we are going to finally see the last day of that upper level low across the east. One more day of showers there for you. And then by Monday morning, last rain is out of here.
Finally. But back to the middle of the country here for us with more rain showers and storms from Des Moines to St. Louis, Kansas City, east of Dallas. Dallas comes down a bit, but still, upper 80s, still another warm time.
With this pattern change, we're going to see a big trough over the west here. That's why we were able to get some snow in this forecast across Idaho and Montana and Wyoming, even Utah. But out ahead of that, that's a classic setup for severe weather. There's a possibility of that as we get into next week right across parts of the plains and Mississippi Valley.
Yeah, so big heads up there. That's something that we'll be fine-tuning where that may be setting up, but there is that risk. Still into Tuesday, still working right into the middle of the country, that risk for the rain showers as well as storms, so that doesn't really move much at all, and we're still finding some snow adding up into the route.
This is mid-October at this point, and there's still no fronts making their way through Florida. Not yet.
Yeah, we know how that goes.
Soon.
Thanks so much for joining us here as we head on through this mid part of the week. Lots to follow here for us. We go away from sort of the winter feel across Alaska to the summer heat we're finding across the middle of the country, which is going to last for some of us all the way through at least the weekend.
Yeah.
Look at the southern plains into Texas.
There's a lot of warmth in the forecast, but there is a cold shot coming with some snow in the forecast, which is later in the show. Let's get you right now to the headlines for today with some rain in the south, some possible thunderstorms. Yeah, this is still that upper level low that we've been talking about for days. It's still here.
Yeah, it's a stubborn little bugger, right? Hanging around, bringing in the threat for those storms around for the day. Some of those could be severe. We'll have to keep an eye on that as we head on through the afternoon. Also, a little bit of rain coming into portions of the west, but in between the two, that's where things will be the quietest and the driest, but also where we'll find temperatures on the warm side.
Yes, warm. I mean, look at Dallas today, mid to upper 80s. It actually gets hotter as we get into the weekend. Temps in Bismarck, 85 degrees. You're not beating Miami today, but you're coming close.
That was crazy yesterday,
I know, right?
All right, well, speaking of yesterday, we were asking you, it was about National Do Something Nice Day, and how about doing something nice no matter the weather, right? And we had folks chiming in about some of the things that they have done to help. Right, good stuff. We love it. So, yeah, I love all the stuff you guys have been sending in. We certainly appreciate it. Today, we are celebrating all things apples.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of this month because it is apple season. It's National Apple Month. They're in harvest of it. We've got showers in Louisville right now, and over down into London, Kentucky, Lexington. It's off and on. And, you know, this kind of weather, I would just put on the rain jacket, right, and put the hood up if you need to. But it's not as big of a soaking rain like we've seen farther south. That said, we could get that. And so the moisture is heading north. Some of this rain in Illinois is heavier, and this isn't quite as showery and moving along quite as quickly, upper level low. And so we're going to see those showers here add up to a bit more, I think, across that area. Now, today's forecast brings the rain north all the way up into northern Indiana, South Bend. We've got rain coming our way. Chicago, we've got rain overnight into tomorrow morning. Sticks around through the day tomorrow. Lower Michigan, around Grand Rapids. Here we go. Showers coming on in. And your forecast into the evening, still raining. We still have showers off and on. You know, could there be a rumble of thunder or two? That's possible, but more likely than not, it's just going to be rain shower activity as this upper level low drifts northward. Finally gets a move by the weekend. But, you know, with this pattern that we're in, you see how the jet stream kind of makes this curvy look to it as this big ridge still takes hold over the northeast. And so it's a blocking pattern where this cannot move east very quickly at all. And so the moisture just is days to come in. And that's why we do add up with the rainfall. Some of it will be heavy at times, especially, you know, watching the Appalachians. The mountains definitely play a role in bringing in some heavier rain, just squeezing out all the moisture in the atmosphere. And rainfall could be an inch, maybe even an inch or two for some of you. Now, if you are on the hunt for October temperatures, it's mission on. No. This is recent snow from Fairbanks, Alaska.
Yeah, just kind of maybe a harbinger of things to come, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? But regardless, you have the flakes flying around out there, and we could see some other areas, not just Alaska, getting involved in some of the snowfall as we head into next week.
All right, so for now, the pattern that we've been in has been a big ridge for much of the country, and especially hangs on across the east. But we see a trough starting to build in across the northwest, and it really gets bigger by this weekend.
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah, it really dives in. You can clearly see that taking shape here. Again, this is as we head towards the early part of next week. With that will come some cooler air, and really the temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center kind of showing that here as we head towards the mid part of the month. Below average is going to be the name of the game here in the west.
In the west. In the east, we stay above average. So if you like what you got, temperature-wise here, it should hang on with temps still above average. But in the west, whenever we go below average with temperatures, normally there's some precip that comes along with that as well.
So you combine the two, and that gives us at least the opportunity, if you can get it cold enough, of course, to get a little wintry weather here for us. So that's something we're going to be watching here as we head on through the coming days. But it's kind of on cue and on schedule here for us, particularly in the intermountain areas. Generally, we're talking late September into October that we start to get into that first measurable snow.
I know we've seen some video of snow. I saw like Steamboat had some snow, you know, way up at elevation, but we haven't had any really big snow yet. In fact, no cities have recorded measurable snow as you look at the first snow tracker of the season. We looked at this earlier and we're like...
Yeah, we paused and we're like,
blank.
Do we need to restart the computer?
Yeah.
But no, this is nothing.
No, not yet. Last year, remember, we had that big snow in Colorado in September. I know you guys remember that. There was a lot of shoveling that went on. So now we're into mid-October and we are talking snow, and it's not that unusual, but still always that first big snow is a big deal. Take a look.
Yeah, decent snows. That's the European model's outlook at things here basically over the next 7 days, and gives a chance to add up in some of these areas across Colorado, basically the Rockies. And it's not just the European model, the GFS American model also spitting out some decent totals.
Yeah, has a little bit less here, maybe a little bit more farther north, but both of them have a footprint of some colder weather, some precip, which would come in the form of snowfall. And then when you look at where this is and where we need it here, it's well situated. You know, this is what we need to help wind down the fire season, basically.
Yeah, so we'll take what we can get, whether it's in the form of rain or snow. It can help us out with the drought situation, which continues to be, you know, pretty rough here for us in the western part of the country. Just a number of areas where we have the exceptional drought That is, of course, the highest category of drought you can get. A lot of extreme areas as well. So again, precip coming through, that's a good thing.
Yeah. All right. By the way, tomorrow, the winter storm names are being released. So you want to tune in for that.
We have no idea what they are.
No, we don't. We are always kept in the dark, so we will see.
All right, well, let's get you into the out there with some of the events making headlines across the nation here. You might be interested in maybe going to. And how about we head to Mobile, Alabama, the Mobile Latin Fest taking place.
This is going to be a lot of fun, and this weather is perfect. You got temperatures in the low 80s in the afternoon. Humidity will be down, and then cooling down into the 70s as we get into the overnight.
Of course, music, food, dance. That'll be the case here for us.
And Alex,
that.
it's free.
Oh,
free to get in.
I'm in.
So let's look at where we are right now. Here it is. Look how it's spreading out, too, because it's underneath a big ridge. And so the ridge of high pressure, well up north into Canada, way up here, actually. And so that's where the steering is. So this thing has nothing to kick it out. So it's just going to sit there for a while. And we are getting some dry air working into it. That's actually going to work against your weather, though, because when the dry air comes in, that'll help some clear skies. That'll allow the sun to come out, destabilize things, and we'll get some thunderstorms, which is happening right now. You can see that across southern Tennessee. We also have a few storms moving up through the Macon area, which you guys were hard hit overnight with heavy rainfall. Still flash flood warnings in effect there. And you were hard hit yesterday with heavy rain and then more. So that's one area to watch for some issues with travel. We also have a flash flood warning down here across the Florida Panhandle. You know, this area, you notice how everything's kind of lifting up to the north, right into that same zone. This area has been inundated with heavy rain, and still some flash flood warnings linger not too far from Pensacola, where we are our wettest year to date on record. So it has been a time for us here for sure. In Pensacola, the rainfall chances continue, and we've got a flash flood watch up all across Alabama, much of the Panhandle, and then into Georgia and Tennessee too. The forecast for today shows the showers continuing. You see all this popping up here into Alabama, up into Middle Tennessee as well. That's that showery kind of activity, which could come in the way of thunderstorms. We'll watch for that today. Even more of it as we get into this early evening, and then overnight things will settle a little bit, as often happen with thunderstorms. But the upper low is still here, Alex, and it is drifting.